Listen up, barbecue lovers. Two big events are coming to South Carolina's upstate, and both are packing 2 days of festival fun for the third weekend in October. You don't want to miss the 25th annual Squealin' on the Square in Lawrence, South Carolina, Friday, October 17th and Saturday, October 18th. There's going to be live music, local vendors, family fun, and of course, delicious barbecue in this Kansas City Barbecue Society competition. It's all happening in downtown Lawrence for Squealin' on the Square, October 17th and 18th. Get more details at mainstreetlawrence.org. Downtown Abbeville is the site for the Hogs and Hens Festival, a Southern Barbecue Network competition featuring a full slate of craft vendors, live music, a kids zone, and, of course, some of the best barbecue east of the Mississippi. Don't miss Hogs and Hens, October 17th and 18th in downtown Abbeville. Complete festival information at abbevillecitysc.com. Squealin' on the Square in Lawrence and the Hogs and Hens Festival in Abbeville, South Carolina's upstate is smoking October 17th and 18th. Since we started this adventure, the Low and Slow Barbecue Show is focused on some of the things that make the Carolinas the very best place to live, especially when it comes to barbecue. And now we're not unique in that respect. There's plenty of folks that dedicate time and resources to celebrating life in North Carolina and South Carolina. But none of those folks are doing it quite like the Foothills Digest. It provides a hyper-focused magnifying glass on life in the North Carolina foothills, including the region's food traditions. So today, we're excited to talk to Foothills Digest Editor-in-Chief, Carmen Eckard. Carmen, thanks so much for joining the Low and Slow Barbecue Show.
Thanks for having me.
First question right out of the gate. What story or maybe storyline from the Foothills Digest have you enjoyed writing the most?
I change my mind every time. Every time I make an issue, I say, oh, this is my favorite. This is my favorite ever, and I mean it. So currently, the food issue I just made is my favorite. And really, I like talking about food more than most things. Food's delicious.
Well, that's cool. So we'll talk more about the Foothills Digest today, and you can learn more about the publication at foothillsdigest.com. And while you're on the internet, be sure to visit the Low and Slow Barbecue Show website. That's lowslowbbqshow.com. You'll find all our podcast interviews as well as blogs spotlighting some of the people, events, and recipes that make up the Carolina barbecue landscape. And while you're at lowslowbbqshow.com, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter, The Lowdown. When you do, you'll get the latest Carolina barbecue news, food truck schedules, and festival lineups, all delivered to your email on Tuesday mornings. You might even find a few links to some of the great content that appears in the Foothills Digest, where our guest today, Carmen Eckard, is editor-in-chief. So, Carmen, let's take it from the top. What is the Foothills Digest?
Well, we are a beautiful magazine that's all about everything that makes us unique here. So, traditions, history, culture, art, food, all of that. And I say we're beautiful because that's always been the main point, is we really want to present what we are in just a really pretty way that people appreciate. That's always been the number one goal.
Yeah. So how did you get started with the project, and how has it continued to succeed over the past few years?
So about 8 years ago, we were doing a lot of shooting for other magazines, my husband and I. My husband's a photographer, and I kept noticing that they were not picking the best pictures to use in the articles. And I always thought there was some really obvious best ones, and no one was picking it. So I kept thinking and saying out loud to my husband, I think we could do better. I think that we could probably put together a really pretty magazine. We should do it. We should do it. He wasn't very sure, but I talked him into it. But that was always the point, just to make something pretty, and I thought we could. So right about the time we were trying, we did that Edison competition, which used to be a competition here in town for entrepreneurs, and we won, and that really helped us get started right from the beginning. But that's been 8 years.
Wow, it's been 8 years already. And of course, that program was, I think, through the Catawba Chamber of Commerce and a few other partners, right?
It was.
Yeah. So let's get to today's edition. And you held it up a moment ago. I'll hold it up for our YouTube viewers. The skillets and cellars. So what's it about, and what inspired this? You mentioned you like food, but what else was driving this particular edition?
Um, well, I've actually already done a food issue before,
Hmm.
so it's a good question. I do need to say each of our issues is very themed. We pick one topic for each issue, and it's all about that all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kept noticing, like, there's really good restaurants around here. There's good places to eat, and there's a lot of threads that follow through across all of them. So I started wondering what made it special. I guess the first time we did a food issue, it was just recipes, like a lot of traditional recipes, but we didn't get into why we eat that way.
Mm.
Um, this one is a lot more about that, like why we eat this way. It's because of what was available here before we all
Mm.
went to the grocery stores, and that's how all of our food traditions developed. And I just think it's really interesting. But it's not just food; it's skillets and cellars,
Oh.
which is also about putting back, because we all learned last year that you never really know like what's coming. And so it's
Mm.
good to have what you need. So there's a pretty hefty section about how you can prepare for, I don't know, whatever. We don't ever know. We never really know what's coming down. So we just want to be like our grandmas who had cellars full of cans, right? They canned up all their food, they put it back. Not many people do that anymore. So it's about that. We want to make sure if there's another hurricane, we all have what we need, basically. But this issue is so fun because it's all about all kinds of different food, traditional food. We learned about pawpaws. Um, you know about pawpaws? Oh, they're so cool.
What is a pawpaw? What is that? And I saw the story in the magazine. So tell us about pawpaw. It's not my granddad or my kid's granddad, right?
No, no. Although that's what we call ours. Pawpaws are America's largest native fruit,
Mm.
and they're about this big normally. Now we have cultivars that they get bigger like this. They kind of taste like a mix between a banana and a mango.
Oh.
And they used to grow all over the place, and they're the only place that some butterfly species can land.
Hmm.
Like the zebra swallowtail. That's what it's called. A beautiful black and white butterfly, and it only lives on those. But you can use it in so many traditional recipes, and you can't really buy it at the store. So there's a story in this issue about Susan Owens and her pawpaw patch. She sells pawpaw to all kinds of restaurants. They use it all year long. That was a long answer.
Yeah, no, that's great. We love those explanations. To take kind of a step back, you mentioned the sellers piece and reference last year. Of course, a lot of folks probably know Hurricane Helene caused a lot of damage throughout Western North Carolina. Of course, winter and the snow season are coming up here around the corner too. So it's always great to have some of those canned foods, fruits, vegetables, that types of thing. And I can remember growing up, my mom and grandmother always spent a lot of time, doing that, canning vegetables, and we kept it all in a root cellar and made sure that we had stuff, and we went down to it and ate from it all the time kind of growing up. Do you guys still practice that type of thing in your own home there, Carmen?
We do. My mother-in-law is very old school in pretty much every way, and she grew up at the base of Baker's Mountain without running water, just in a really traditional way. And so she's taught me a lot.
Mm.
So I've learned how to can. When I put back stuff, though, I've been freeze drying a lot of stuff. I love freeze drying. That's fun new technology.
Sure.
Because when I put stuff back, I want it to last longer than a year, because if it only lasts a year, you have to replace it every year. So in the story here, I kind of encourage you to have 1 to 3 months of food put back that's going to last. So our grannies use cans, and that's great, and I still do that. But a freeze dryer is nice too.
Sure. So we've talked about the pawpaw patch and maybe some of the canning and cellar work. Maybe tell us a couple of other can't miss stories that are in the Skillets and Cellars edition.
Sure, I made a list. There is a part in here that's a song list. It's just like songs that are based on food or the way that we eat, and that I think was really fun to make. But I did tell you about my favorite story already, the Pawpaw story.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? My favorite one to write every time is the opening story that kind of explains the whole theme. So the story opens just talking about why we eat the way we eat. And that I think is really interesting. And it kind of just points in lots of directions and kind of gives you an idea of where the whole issue will go. There's also an article in here about your show. That one's really good.
Oh, yeah.
If
Okay.
people are listening, they already know about your show. Old Salem was a really fun one, too. I'm sure most people here know about Old Salem. If they don't, you have got to check it out.
Mm.
Living history is the best way to experience it. I think you can read as much as you want, but it's a really different experience when you can smell what they're cooking. You can even taste it. It's so cool. That's what's on the cover here. And that's a really good story, too.
Yeah, so we've been to Old Salem. I took my kids there. It's a great for a day out of school adventure. And like you said, they really make history come to life with some of the things they do there. Now, I look over here and I mentioned the website, foothillsdigest.com. I know y'all have a beautiful print edition. How does the web placement or the website fit into your overall plan for the publication?
If I could get away with not having a website, I wouldn't even have one because I'm all about the print.
Yeah.
However, I'm a realist. So our website, you can actually read every back issue we've ever done right there. If you're looking at it on a computer, it's pretty much full size. So that's fun. We like to put teasers for what's coming up. And you can always buy t-shirts. You can buy subscriptions there. And sometimes I'm not really that great at it, but I do push out stories. I was really excited about the Pawpaw story, so you can go ahead and read that one now on the website, even though it's still on the stands. I'm all about that print.
Yeah,
I
well,
really like it.
the artwork really comes to life in the print edition, I think.
Thank
And
you.
that's kind of the goal, right? Yeah.
I've bragged on him a little bit.
Sure. Well, he deserves it. And he and I have a football history, but that's a different story. So let's get back to food in the foothills. How would you describe the food traditions of the North Carolina foothills?
Very simple and rooted in what was here. And so there's a lot of things that we take advantage for that really they didn't have much access to, like milk, cow. They didn't really have much beef. They didn't really have much dairy. So you'll find a lot more pork recipes, which, goes right into what you do.
Sure.
Everybody had pigs. Everybody had chickens. So most of our recipes, if they're meat-based, are based in one of those two. And then everything else is just what we could grow here, and cornbread, which is, what we can grow here.
Yeah, sure. So I know food festivals are a part of life in the foothills and all across the Carolinas. In fact, for the third weekend in October, the 25th annual Squealing on the Square is happening in Lawrence, South Carolina. And just 36 miles away in Abbeville, that's the 12th annual Hogs and Hens Festival. It's going on too. It's a couple of barbecue competitions that are sure to draw thousands to those two South Carolina towns. And Carmen, with that in mind, how important are food festivals to the towns in the foothills? And I know you've got some of that kind of information in the magazine too.
Yeah, that's interesting. I actually went to a barbecue and oyster festival this weekend, and it was pretty exciting being able to eat a pig right off the pig and eat it with friends. That's pretty cool. I think food festivals can be very important. Like Lexington, that's a big festival that brings a lot of money, a lot of attention. Everybody likes to eat. If I go to other festivals and I'm still there to eat. So it's good. It's good when it's about the food. And, people are passionate about food. So anything that gives them a chance to celebrate the food that's like local, regional, it's good. People love it. They eat it up. And
and there's some
they do to come together right now. It's good. Anything that celebrates community. I love it. Let's get more of it.
Of course, there's a couple of good ones like the Liver Mush Festival, I think, happens at a couple of places, Shelby being one of them. And there's a kudzu festival, I think, that's happened around it. There's a Blackberry Festival in Lenoir. So a lot of food festivals around the foothills for sure. You have a favorite among those?
Not the Liver Mush. I I like liver. We have a tentative relationship with liver mush. As long as I don't think too hard about it, it's pretty tasty. I love the Blackberry Festival. I'm a big fan of Lenore. Um, but the liver mush, I have an article about liver mush in here, and I was gonna do like, here's how you make liver mush, like a whole recipe. And I thought that if people knew all of that, they might not love it as much, so I didn't include. Not really. It's kind of like hot dogs, but it's good. It's so good, and it really gets back to the same tradition of why we eat so much barbecue. We had pigs, and they wanted to use it all, and liver mush it's head meat. There's not great things to do with that. It would probably otherwise be wasted, but instead we turn it into something delicious and regional, and that's pretty awesome. I don't really need to be
Yeah.
down on it. As long as I don't think about the details, it's really cool.
Right. You got to use every part of it, from the rooter to the tutor, I think they say. A word of advice: thin and crispy, add mustard. That's the way we like lives there.
That's kind of what my article says. Yeah, be sure to add mustard.
So you talked a little bit about, why barbecue is such a popular thing in the Carolinas, especially in the foothills. Do you feel like that the foothills barbecue is different than what you might find down east, or maybe even Lexington or elsewhere throughout the South?
Yes. Okay, so most people in North Carolina, they want to argue about your sauce. All they want to talk about: vinegar, tomato, vinegar. Okay, if you eat barbecue in the foothills, we're going to give you both sauces. You can pick. We're going to give you both slaws, honestly. You can pick. We probably have both available. But we're going to give you meat that's delicious and like falls apart in your mouth. We're going to give you good meat, and that's what makes foothills. We don't focus on anything else. The rest is extra. The meat is the main important goal, and I like that a lot better. Your sauce can be real good, but if you're pouring it on like tough pork, who cares?
That is a
Like,
fact.
personally.
Does barbecue have to be pork?
Ask me that. Yes, it does. I mean, if you're gonna live in North Carolina, barbecue is pork. If I go somewhere else, I'll learn their words. But here we say Appalachian, and barbecue is pork. And it's a noun.
Yeah, that gets to my question here, and I go to foothillsdigest.com, and again, as I scroll down and I see our buddies over at Cranford Barbecue and Cranford Brothers Barbecue, Cranford Hospitality. You got a link about barbecue, and that's where you bring up that. Is it a verb or a noun? So maybe explain in your mind why barbecue is a noun.
Because it's the food. It's not the process of you smoke a pig to get barbecue.
But isn't that a verb?
The thing that you get. No, smoking is a verb. The smoke is the action. The barbecue is the meat in your hand, and that's a noun. It's not what you did to get it. It's the end result. Like, I understand that in some places they think barbecue means to stand by a grill with like a griddle in your hand. Get out of my face. Barbecue is a noun. It means the best food that you can put on a sandwich. Full stop. That's what it is.
And I know some people that will argue that it's both, that you can smoke the pig as a verb and then have the barbecue sandwich as a noun. So, there might be a case for that, but I'm with you. I kind of lean towards the noun. So let's look ahead. I know you guys put out the Foothills Digest on a quarterly basis. It comes to my mailbox every quarter. What's on the horizon? What's in the future for Foothills Digest?
The next one is all about furniture. Furniture is really important around here, so I'm really engrossed in that right now. It's been really integral to everything this whole region is. Without furniture, I don't know that we would have quite so many towns. And like the food, we have furniture because of our land and what the land here gave us. We have furniture because of the Catawba River and because of the trees and the craftsmanship that people brought with them. But much like it's the land and that gave us our food, it also gave us what we make. I really like it. It's fun to really dig deep into what makes us different, what makes us special, what ties this region, like the physicality of the region to the way we do things. All of that is really interesting to me. Um, and I don't know, after furniture, I don't know what the next two are. I know people like for me to have a whole year planned ahead, but I never do, because it has to be, here's the secret. It has to be endlessly interesting to me. And if it's not going to be a good magazine. No one's going to like it. I did one magazine issue that I wasn't so excited about it. And it was not, it was obvious, I think. I mean, I don't know. I could look at it and tell the difference. It didn't sell as well. People never say, oh, that was such a good issue. I think the most important thing is that I just have to be really into it. And I cannot tell. It might be ADHD, which I think is a superpower, not a problem. But I don't know what's going to interest me 6 months from now. Are you kidding me? And if I
Sure.
try to tell you by the time it comes around, I'm going to be so bored of it that it won't be good. So I don't know, furniture, and then I don't know.
To be determined. Stay tuned. And of course, go to Foothills Digest and you can subscribe and get single issues or 3-year editions or an annual subscription as well. Let me take a step back, and maybe we should have hit this at the top. Carmen, what are we describing as the Foothills? Do you have a geographic area that fits into that bucket, number one? And then how far are you sending your magazines out into the world?
Well, we have them going kind of all over the country by subscription, but it's people who are based here or like they grew up here. Most of the subscriptions from far off are because they grew up here.
Mm-hmm.
We are sold in grocery stores from Winston-Salem to the edge of the state, north, south, west.
Wow.
But we don't really focus on that as much. Like Asheville, they don't need us. I might talk about Asheville if they're doing something really cool that we want to go visit, but they don't. Asheville feels very different. I try to pick towns that feel the same, that feel like sweet little foothills towns. I try to stick like 100 miles from Lenoir and draw a circle around Lenoir. Gastonia is a little too far east, but we do the high country. But I would say if you told me I could only do 4 counties, it would be Catawba, Caldwell, Burke, and Taylorsville.
Alexander, yeah. Yeah, so kind of from Hickory up north to the Boone area, maybe west towards Morganton, east towards Taylorsville, and sort of the little all the wonderful little towns all around there.
Exactly, and we don't mind going outside of that range for like day trips. If I feel like my family would get a car and drive to see it because it's that cool, I don't mind talking about it. I'm making this magazine for people who live here. Now, I'm not saying that's the only people that like it. I'm saying I'm making it for the people that live here so that they can look around and see beautiful things and feel proud of what we have and feel more connected to it. That's what's it's about that. So I don't know. I kind of stick close to here, like close to Lenoir, Hickory, but we love all of North Carolina.
Yeah. And I'm sure for your subscribers elsewhere in the country, it's a nice reminder of home and all the good things that they grew up around. If, I've moved to Alabama, I can think back all the good things going on in Hickory and Lenoir and Morganton, that area.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the nice things. We don't, if you know me from like the internet, for instance, you might know that I talk about things that aren't always easy to talk about. I push some envelopes. I don't do that in my magazine. My magazine is, I don't want to say it's like a marketing piece for the region because I make it for people who live here, but I am not about highlighting what's bad in print forever. I'm about showing off what's good, what we like, what holds us together, all that uniting stuff. I want to show that. So you'd be pretty hard pressed to find negativity in that magazine. Now,
so
past, moving forward, ever.
Yeah. Well, so as we kind of wrap it up here, Carmen, kind of the closure that I give all my guests here, I want to put to you as well. What keeps your fire burning? You're 8 years into this project. Why do you do it? What keeps you inspired to put out a new edition every quarter?
I like to talk. One, it's very much like talking. I have a lot of ideas. I like to get them out there. Two, I did not grow up here. I grew up in the center of the state. My children's roots go back to the 1600s in this area. And I want to highlight what's good for them. And I want to keep it good and like work to make it better so they don't have to leave. And that idea is very motivating for me, like kind of a long-term thing. In the short term, my attention's been really 3 months is enough. I talk about something deeply, I obsess about it for 3 months, and I never have to think about it again. And that really suits me and keeps my fire lit because there's something else interesting right around the corner and I want to talk about it.
And that, my friends, is the final word from the Foothills Digest editor-in-chief, Carmen Eckard. Carmen, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Again, you can explore the Foothills Digest at foothillsdigest.com. While you're there, go ahead and subscribe. Get the good news about North Carolina's foothills every quarter delivered to your own home. You've been listening to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show on the Mesh.tv network of podcasts. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating on your favorite podcast stream. Share our podcast with your food-loving friends, and be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Don't forget, there's more interviews and blogs at our website, lowslowbbqshow.com. While you're there, sign up for our free newsletter and get the latest barbecue news delivered to your email inbox every Tuesday morning. Thanks again to our guest today, Carmen Eckard. Thanks as well to the whole team at the Mesh.tv network of podcasts, especially our producer, Andrew Moose. Finally, thank you for listening to the Low and Slow Barbecue Show. Remember, for the best barbecue and the best barbecue podcast, make it low and slow.